so be able to see us. Hey, everybody. No bonus content this week. If you're watching live, last night we didn't end up recording. But we did, Nobsh and I did watch 2 E3 press conferences, so you could watch along with us. And I think that counts. That's bonus enough. It's a new idea for a show that we're testing out. It was fun. I had a lot of fun. What was the Nobsh, what was the biggest surprise from last night for you?
Last night?
From those 2 press conferences, something that surprised you the most, looking back on it.
I mean, I have favorites, but I don't know, like, they're surprising. I don't know.
There was something that really took me off guard in the moment. I think, like, remembering that, like, Crytek Connect game, that Rise Connect game or whatever, that never ended up turning out to be anything ever, which wasn't in that press conference, to be fair, but I did remember it. I think that was in 2014, or it was in the announce event.
I think it was probably in the reveal.
Yeah, it was probably the reveal event. Man, different world. Yeah, there were a lot of good shocks and awes. Presumably Tony will be joining us soon. He was the one that requested that we record today, so he fucking better. We will give him his comeuppance otherwise. All right, we're gonna go right into the podcast. Sit back, relax, and enjoy. Do my inhaler. Is it around? Is it near? I don't. Ugh. Ugh. I like to clean it out sometimes, Get in there. It is Sunday, June 2nd, 2019, and you are listening to the Irrational Passions podcast. I am Alex O'Neill, your host on this podcast that we have embarked upon, you and I, dear listener. And joining us this week in this journey, we have Mr. Scott Guth here.
Hello.
And also Brian Nobshin Jackson.
Your soul is mine.
We are one, you might have noticed, recording on Sundays as opposed to Saturdays, at the behest and request of Mr. Tony Horvath, who's not here right now. Don't worry, we'll give him plenty of grief for that, but hopefully he'll be joining us later. Otherwise, it's podcast time. It is June now, officially. Welcome to June. Mazel tov. Happy almost summer, everybody. But more importantly, with that, we were just on the cusp of the Electronic Entertainment Expo, the E3, which is, it's suffice to say, this year it's going to be a weird one, because Sony's not there at all, and to some extent, EA is not really going to have that much of a visual presence, but Nintendo's still there, Microsoft's still there. And there are still plenty of games that are being announced, talked about, and discussed or teased for E3 in the lead up to E3. We have some such news as that. We also have some E3 predictions that we're going to go through, and also we are going to get ready to make a bunch of E3 bets. More specifically, on this episode, we are going to be drafting some members of the editorial team, of which we don't have an editorial team member with us this week for just such an occasion. We're going to be drafting them to make bets for us on behalf of our 2 teams. So if you like the bets segment on this podcast, of which I'm a personal big fan, then get ready. This one, we're gearing up for a big one. Basically, we're just going to do half of it this week and the other half next week. The fun half, actually making the bets next week. But this week, we got a good show lined up for everybody. I do want to start with a little housekeeping, a couple of things to shout out on irrationalpassions.com, of which this show is a product of. A lot went up this week. And I would say it's maybe best to go and explore that stuff yourself, irrationalpassions.com. But just a couple of highlights that I do want to shout out. I did shout it out last week, but I want to reiterate my review of Sekiro has posted. I also had a review discussion with Mr. Scott White about Sekiro and kind of talking about it. He has some very good questions, and I'm really happy with that review. I'm very proud of it. Thus, I want to promote it again. But plenty of other stuff. A review of Void Bastards, which seems really cool. It's a video review that Scott actually did. It's been getting a lot of heat this week. It seems like a lot of people really like it. We have indie highlights for May that went up that Mike Burgess did. I might be doing the indie highlights for June. We'll see. I would like to, but it's all about time. A review discussion with George Cruz Alvarez and Mr. Quinn Hoffman about alt frequencies. Video review of Gato Roboto, which is like a cool little cat-based Metroidvania that went out that came out this week on Switch. A review of Legends of Heroes: Trails of Cold Steel, which just got ported to PS4. Scott White reviewed that, and the third episode of Video Game Book Club for BioShock 2, which was the episode where we kind of talked about the game as a whole. We kind of got into the nitty gritty of the things that some of us liked and the things that most of us didn't like. But we had a good conversation about it. And then just last bit of housekeeping, because I know I've been going on forever here. There will be some E3 stuff that we're doing. We're not doing a lot of E3 content because we're not going to be there, but we're going to be doing post shows to Ubisoft, Microsoft, Nintendo, and I forget, we're gonna like roll Bethesda and some of the smaller other ones into like one post show. So like the Kind of Funny Games showcase, we're probably gonna talk about in that show, et cetera, et cetera. So those will all be happening like immediately after those press conferences end. We're gonna be sitting down, myself, possibly some folks from here, possibly some guests, some editorial members, and talking about them. So if you are excited about E3 as much as I am, I would check those out. If you miss them while they're live, that's okay. They'll be archived right away on YouTube, so you can check them out then. So that's stuff to keep your eyes peeled on. For now, we're going to talk about games, and then we're going to talk about news and E3 and all that fun mumbo jumbo. But let's kick it off with video games. Scott, I saw you this week in person in the meat space. Which was super fun. We talked about it last week's podcast, but Tony and Scott came over to my house. We grilled for Memorial Day. And that was fun. But
after the grilling, we went and we played a little Sekiro.
I made Tony and Scott play Sekiro. It was a very proud moment for me. What did you think, Scott? Do you have any thoughts, feelings you want to share here?
No. I didn't spend enough time with it.
Mm-hmm. Did you like what you played?
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah, it was fun. It was just really fun for me to watch you guys play and watch you guys figure different things out. Because they were passing off back and forth every time they died. You guys got through the tutorial into like the first area to kind of like the first really tough enemy, and then we stopped pretty much. That was really fun. Yeah, it was nice to just be able to share that game with somebody and some other folks. My friend,
I'm getting to playing it. I was just real busy this week.
Yeah,
so.
I believe you. I just want to give you that taste, just so that way you knew what you're getting yourself into. My friend Chris actually came over this weekend as well, and I made him play through the whole first like third of the game, and I just sat and watched him play it, and that was super fun. So yeah, it was a good week for Sekiro, watching people play Sekiro for me. Did you play anything else this week, Scott?
Let's see. I'm just gonna roll this into with my bonus content as well, since it's fairly relevant.
Sure.
Yeah, I played some Mortal Kombat.
Nice.
I was a Mortal Kombat 11.
Mm-hmm, presumably.
I was out of power for a full day.
Nice. Why did that happen?
I think it started on Thursday. Thursday, there was a storm that rolled through.
Yes.
And that knocked the power line down right in front of my street.
Yeah, at work.
So on Thursday, I could not go home until like 9 p.m.
Jeez. And where I work, they like shut down. Like I work in a mall, and they shut down the mall and evacuated it, and like people were hiding in hallways and everything. It was crazy. It's a crazy storm.
Yep.
What did you do instead?
That happened. So what I did is I slept over at my brother Will's house because there was no power. When I was allowed back in, I picked up my junk got ready for tomorrow.
Yeah.
Played a little bit of Mortal Kombat that day, and then went to bed, got up, and went to work the next day.
Did you spend enough time with Mortal Kombat to get a feel on it?
I did because the story's not over yet.
Okay.
Fast forward to end of workday tomorrow, which ended up being at 7 p.m. Yeah, so 9 to 7.
Mm-hmm.
I go home to see if the power's back on. And luckily enough, it was. And because this is Saturday, I don't have work the next day. Oh, yeah, no. First, I went and I had to check the fridge to make sure that everything was okay. And as it turns out, the freezer was at 42 degrees when I got home.
Jeez.
So I was like, that's not good, but everything inside is still partially frozen,
Okay.
so it's not rotten.
Yeah, that's
or
good.
it really got close to being rotten.
Yeah.
Still technically frozen, even though it almost thawed.
Jeez.
And what we ended up doing is we put 2 ice packs next to the chicken and meat we had in there, in the fridge.
Mm-hmm.
And we knew that was okay because the ice packs hadn't fully melted yet.
Okay, that's good.
Only half melted.
Safe bet to make sure your stuff stays good.
But at the same time, it was, oh boy, now we got to cook all of it like today.
Yeah.
Right now.
Back-to-back grill outs, if I may.
Essentially.
That's cool. It's a blessing in disguise, you'd say.
And then after that, I still had to get my shit from Will's house, so I went back over, played Mortal Kombat till way too late. I think I was able to get my hands on every character. I might have been missing a couple.
Okay.
But I either played as or went against as every character there.
Cool.
So, yeah.
What'd you think?
Played like 3 hours of that.
Nice. How does it compare for you?
I like it better.
Okay. Then either 9 or 10?
Yeah, and probably more than the Injustices too.
Yeah. Okay.
So this one isn't as combo happy as the other ones. You aren't punished for holding your EX bar
Mm-hmm.
because your break and your X-ray are now 2 different bars.
Nice. That's good. I didn't know that.
Furthermore, a lot of moves that would be easy infinite combo starters, i.e., if Cabal's what's it called? And they did this a little before, but it's even more so now. But the Cabal's rush is an easy example. Yeah, they don't easily chain into other things now. Oh no! A better example is a Wolverine spear throw.
Scorpion.
Yeah, Scorpion.
Same idea. Yeah, you get the gist.
Scorpion spear toss.
Mm-hmm.
You can't combo out of that unless you cancel it.
Yeah. Okay.
I mean, it's a simple RB cancel, but still.
Yeah, that's cool.
So they did a lot of that. So the fights last a bit longer now, and characters who have high combo counts, or at least high percentages in their combo counts, don't completely dominate the style of play.
That's good.
So zoners don't have to now also have combos to make them broken now. They have a little bit, but you're not going to see anything close to 60% from them.
Okay. Yeah, I know like Injustice 1 is really combo heavy, and I think that probably takes after Mortal Kombat 9 the most. But I don't know, I have not played a Mortal Kombat since 9. I never finished the story of 9 also. I kind of want to go back and see it through, play X, and then play the story of 11 just to see it, you know. But I haven't like played a fighting game because I ended up skipping Injustice 2. I haven't played a fighting game in forever.
Yeah, the only other thing that I would say is a bit odd for it is that it kind of looks It's as the same as 10.
Really? I feel like a lot of people
Yeah,
like how this
so
looks by
it's
comparison.
the character designs got a lot simpler
Mm-hmm.
for a lot of characters, and then the graphics kind of like they just look the same.
Really?
You should really relook at 10 again. It look, like in comparison, it looks dog shit, honestly.
I like the thing is I remember I've heard a lot of people say that they like 11 the way 11 looks more than 10.
I think the simpler character designs hides it better.
But I feel like there were some people that really didn't like how 10 looked at the time. Maybe I'm just imagining that, but
I think at the time it looks fine. It's just like now, it's just like just looking at it, their faces just don't look good at all.
mm-hmm. I gotta go back. Let's do the side by sides. I know Jarrett's a big fan of like kind of like how they change more characters to make them like seem more like where they come from visually, which is cool. Have you played anything outside of Mortal Kombat 11?
No.
That's it? Damn.
Yeah, no, I was essentially out of my house for 3 entire days for the week.
Nice.
And then I kind of passed out early for the other 2.
There's no shame in that. Having been one of those, I was like sick all week. I don't know if either of you guys have had bad vertigo before, or vertigo at all. It's like the worst thing in the world. I have to take Dramamine to be able to walk straight, which is where I'm at right now. But I'll manage. All right. What about you, Namishin? Video games.
I haven't really played anything, honestly.
Have you revisited any of those? Chipping Away. You finished Crack in Time.
I finished that like 2 weeks ago.
Yeah. You've committed yourself to many other videos. Final Fantasy 13,
I
Persona
played like
4.
30 minutes like a day of that.
Okay.
Persona 4 I have not got back to at all.
Mm-hmm.
I said 30 minutes a day. I play 30 minutes every time I play it.
Got it. Every time you visit it.
Yes.
Yeah, I don't know, man. What did you think of Team Sonic Racing? I feel like we didn't really talk about it. I don't know how much you played of it though.
I played a little bit. It's fine.
Okay.
It's a competent game. It's like there's nothing really I can really say about it because like it's just fine.
Is it disappointing?
No.
Okay.
It's expected.
It's just what it is, you know.
It's basically all it is. Like my feelings towards that game is kind of the same with what I felt before like Sonic Heroes on GameCube when I played that, and it's like in multiple ways too because like there's a team system of how that game plays Team Sonic Racing and like that's a cool mechanic as far as like you can like trade your items with like your team that's like who's like trailing behind, so like if your team gets like the most points you win the race in general type of thing, so that's cool and all, but like there's like a certain level of like cheese is not the right word, but like there's a certain level of just like the best way I could say it is like hard the cars bullshit. Or like not necessarily hard cars, but like
is it rubber banding to some extent?
No, I'm totally getting that wrong. That's not what I mean. I meant more of like because I'm
Is
comparing
there
it
an RNG aspect to it?
to just the getting the item boxes.
Okay.
But what I mean is like when I say hard car bullshit, I meant more of like from Yu-Gi-Oh, like the friendship bullshit. Like it's like there's like a certain like cheesy like guys we're best friends type of thing.
The tone of it, you mean?
Yeah. Which was like all over Sonic Heroes.
Yeah, it was.
And I like that game. I like that game a lot.
I like that game too. Yeah.
But like, it's like when I bring it to my friends' place and be like, "Oh man, this game is so cool!" And it's like, "We're gonna beat this with the power of friendship." And it's like, and then you look at your friends and your friends like, "Dude, like, what are you into?" And like, I don't know. Like that's kind of like how I feel.
Come on, dude. What are you in? What are you even into, man?
What are you into?
I love this though. I like. Is there a story mode in that game? Is there a story mode in that game?
There is, but it's so funny because like when you start out, you automatically go to the story when you do the story mode. But for like the next 2 hours, like when I was playing it, like I was like, why isn't the story popping up? Like that's weird. I've been going to like all these courses and the story ain't popping up. But like by default, like your normal button that you use to press to like enter something, which is X, or cross whatever. That's to skip the story. So
Oh,
like by default, they want you to kind of skip the story just to get to the race, which is like granted, like that's the best way of doing it, but like
but that's
because
such a bummer way to do it.
it's like the story's just um pretty much like a visual novel anyway. But like I was like, man, like it's not like they don't care about the story, but like they don't care about the story either. So it's like it's there. Every course has a story mode to it, which is funny, isn't it? But like by default, it's like you just skip it. You wouldn't know it unless you like look at the bottom that says like circle is to actually like see the story and like X is just like to skip the story, just go straight to the race. It's like, oh wow, okay.
That's I honestly, it's not surprising though. I feel like that's on brand for a Sonic game to weirdly undermine itself. I guess like yeah, like I've heard the Sonic Heroes comparison. I like that game though, and like I feel like Sonic Heroes weirdly doesn't get enough credit for like trying to roll with the idea that it had, but then like also having multiple campaigns, and then if you play all of them, you get like a final campaign. Kind of like it was a weird play on the 3D Sonic formula at the time. I think. Do you think the Sonic Team Racing does any of that at all with the Sonic Racing formula, or no?
Yeah, totally. Like that's like the whole basis of the game. That's what kind of makes it unique, which is kind of cool. But it's not unique, I should say. It's like everyone does the same thing, but like the mechanics of it are like like there's no other racing game that does that. So that just makes it more cool, and like it's definitely more like a game that you will like playing more if you played it with actual friends. So
Hmm.
uh like one of those type of things.
Yeah, I get that. Can you have like a game where each player is a member of the team?
I think you can when you do online races.
Okay, that's kind of cool. I like that idea of like cooperative racing. Um, cool. There was a kernel there. There was a nugget of Team Sonic Racing. It's worse generally it seems than racing transformed or whatever though. To which you fall in that camp as well.
Yeah, that's because like that one's just more.
It's more.
Yeah, it's just more in
Mm.
general, more of everything, more characters, more. Um, it feels even more diverse. I feel, but it's on that level. It's just as good as that. It's just just a little bit diminished by the roster not being like as much as you will want, or even like Transform had like the changing of like horses and stuff like that, which makes it like a little bit more unique as well. So you know,
Yeah, I get you. Anything else that you've been dabbling with?
not really. No.
Okay. I dabbled with some video games this week. It's a weird week, I think, across the board because Scott was out of his house, and also I saw Scott and Tony in person this week, which we had a good time. For folks at home listening, there were a lot of pictures that I posted on Twitter that I was very happy with. I played a lot of Sekiro this week. I don't know what it could have been. Maybe it was watching Tony and Scott play the beginning again. Started a whole new playthrough of Sekiro. I think this is the fourth or fifth playthrough that I've done of that game, and I played literally front to back all the way to just about the last area. Again, which is now it's the manyth time that I've done that, and I still love that game. Which, to be fair, this is exactly what I did with Bloodborne. I think even to a higher degree. But when I got Bloodborne, I played it back to back to back 4 times over, and then I got the platinum. So that's kind of what I'm doing with Sekiro. I'm basically setting up so that way I'll be able to get all of the endings, and then I'm gonna get all the endings, and then hopefully the platinum trophy. That game's great. I really like it. I don't know. It's a really special game for me at this time. It's a good game to listen to podcasts to, and I think it's a fun time. It's frustrating, sure, but I have a good time with it. I also played some Persona 5 this week. I talked to Nabashin about this on our stream last night, but basically after I finished the game, I reloaded my New Game Plus save that I had been playing after I'd finished the game the first time and just started over a New Game Plus and just basically picked up where I left off. I did that. I started that about 2 weeks ago. I just didn't really want to mention it. Wasn't too important, but basically I'm just trying to get the platinum trophy. I'm trying to see all the social links. I've never actually seen all of them through to the end, so there's ones I've never seen the end of, like Oya, EY, and Shinya. I've never actually seen the end of at this point. But all the other ones I got on my other playthrough. Last night I just beat the Reaper, which was cool. That was something like a big trophy I wanted to check off, and then I used the kind of easy way to beat the Reaper to just grind out to level 95, which didn't take as long as I thought it would, honestly. I don't know if you remember how bad it was for you, Nabashin.
It wasn't too bad. It was the only bad thing about it was just like finding him, honestly.
Yeah. Did you fight the Reaper over and over again to get to that level as well?
Yeah, totally.
Yeah. As soon as I did it and it says like you get 72,000 experience for it, I'm like, this seems like a good way to level up. I should do this. This will be faster than whatever plan I had before this. So yeah, now everyone in my party is level 95 and just unstoppable. Absolutely forces of nature. And then I have like basically all of the base compendium personas that you can fuse. I have all, I think, but one of them done. So now it's all just like the special fusions and like the top tier of each social link, the reward fusions left for that game. And then the compendium will be done. I caught the big legendary fish, which was fun. I'd like never done the fishing minigame in Persona 5, which is surprisingly pretty good. I ended up liking it a lot more than I thought I would. Fishing minigames can be very hit or miss. But that was fun. I did all that. So yeah, I'm just cruising through hopefully my last playthrough of that game. I made like a backup save though, because I don't think I'm going to be able to read all the books and play all the games in this playthrough, but I think I will be able to beat the twins and get through all the social links, which is fun. That game's great. It's been very lovely, kind of 100% in it and putting a bow on the top of it just before I kind of probably never play this version of this game again. So, on to greener pastures. I also, because of Scott White's review of Trails of Cold Steel and endless recommendations I've gotten to play that game over the years, I picked up Trails of Cold Steel on PS4, which is now available. I saw the way that Scott White compared that game, just that got me hooked for you two and also anyone listening. He described it as like Persona meets Final Fantasy VII, which is, I would say, a pretty apt comparison. I'm just starting it. I think I'm like in the first, like basically the tutorial dungeon. I do like that game opens with a cold open that starts you like 5 months into it, and it has you fighting battles with zero tutorial, just like out the gate, but you're very overpowered, so you're probably fine. But yeah, it just kind of throws you into it and lets you play out the scene. It doesn't really introduce the characters. It's just like, here's the game and check it out and play through this cool little intro that takes place like what seems like maybe halfway through the game. And then flashes you back. It's some JRPG shit. You're attending a military academy. You seem to be some kind of teenager. It seems to be, I would say, comparable to a high school, this military academy. And it's a bunch of tweens trying to get along. But yeah, Scott says like there's an aspect of building relationships with your classmates, which will let you perform in battle better. And then there's also these kind of, I forget what they're called, quartz, I think, and they're kind of like materia from Final Fantasy VII, right? You slot quartz into a special armament, like an orb carrier, that each character has a different one, and then you can level up those quartz, and they will get new abilities and new skills as you level them up, and as you equip more of them. So it's cool. It seems like a cool JRPG. It seems like it's got one hell of a hump to the beginning, so I don't know how well I'm going to do through the beginning of this, just because I'm in a weird gaming mood. But so far, it seems cool. I feel like there is something I'm forgetting, but it's probably not that important. I might have played like a few minutes of Rage 2 this week or something like that, but I don't necessarily think I have anything to add. Oh, I played a bunch of dumb stuff on my Switch, but there's nothing important there. That's all I've been playing. We blew through games this week. You guys want to talk about some news?
Mm.
There's a lot of news this week, and a lot of it's like pre-E3 news, so we don't necessarily need to spend a lot of time on it, but there are some interesting things I wanted to call out here. If I can get the music ready in just enough time. I was almost there. I was almost there. The volume was muted. I couldn't have been ready. All right. Some juicy news this week, Scott.
That didn't go through the Discord. Did it go through the
Did it-
audio?
It did not.
Oh, I must not have had the button pressed.
Could see over their mouth in it.
Yes, there were dupes. I'm gonna do a redo real quick, just so that way I know that this is working now. News in gaming. Yay, nay.
Good. Yeah.
Cool. It's a button not pressed from earlier. Interesting news this week. We got there juicy scoops. Most specifically, Pokemon Sleep. I think is arguably the biggest scoop, or the smallest scoop. I don't know. Pokemon had a press conference. There are two things Pokemon announced this week. One, that there is going to be a Nintendo Direct about Pokemon Sword and Shield on, I believe, June 5th. So it's pre-E3, all about Sword and Shield. Presumably, we'll figure out maybe a release date, starter stuff, the world, the mechanic, the hook, all the good stuff. That's fine. More importantly, this was the day before they said they were going to be doing a Pokemon press conference. And keep in mind, like, there have not been a lot of Japanese-centric press conferences. Or there aren't a lot anymore, right? Nabish and I watched an old Nintendo E3 press conference. This pre-directs and whatnot this week, 2007. A gem, I would say, truly. And there's just like a certain vibe that like a Japanese press conference has that this very much did have. Did you watch this, Nabishin? You said you might have fallen asleep during this.
I totally fell asleep.
That was the whole point. Did you hear about this, Scott?
Nope, not at all. This is news to me.
So it was pretty short. I would say maybe like 35, 40 minutes long. The head of Game Freak was there, the kind of head of the Pokemon company. He was the same guy that announced in 2016, just after the Switch, or just before, just when they were talking about Switch stuff, and right when, or it was 2017, it was just after the Switch launched, that, hey, there's a new mainline Pokemon game coming to Switch. He was that guy at that E3. So he came out, talk about all these new Pokemon projects. Scott, how do you feel about Pokemon Go?
Yeah, as it stands,
Yeah.
it's fine.
Okay. You know, like,
I'm not that into it, but it's fine.
there's this thing called Pokemon Go Plus. It's a little accessory that you can sync to your phone and get Pokemon Go points for. I actually don't really know how it works. and you'll get stuff for that, and that's great when you play Pokemon Go, or when you're not. And now there's a thing called Pokemon Go Plus Plus, or Pokemon. Maybe it had a different name, Plus Plus, but there was Plus Plus in the name.
That's what it's called.
And you can lay it on your bed while you sleep, and in some way, your sleeping habits will then carry over to this Pokemon in this Pokemon Go Plus Plus. I still unclear on how this all
What?
this is all gonna work.
Hold on, what?
And it's a branded thing called Pokemon Sleep. This is real, Scott. I know I said it with no real context, and it sounded kind of like a
they're
joke.
adding sleeping habits to your Pokemon.
Yeah, it's in some way. And to you, they specifically said the phrase, it'll give our players something nice to wake up to, or a reason to wake up to. There's a lot of weird verbiage in this Pokemon press conference. It was wild, honestly. It was like watching like an old E3 press conference. It was crazy. But they announced that. They announced that there is a sequel to Detective Pikachu coming to the Nintendo Switch. They announced Pokemon Home, which is not PlayStation Home, but it will be kind of like a cloud service that all the general Pokemon bank type services will function with. Current ones will function with. So if you use like the Pokemon Bank on 3DS, you'll be able to move your Pokemon from there to Pokemon Home. And then you'll be able to kind of move those Pokemon, presumably freely around to any new Pokemon game or service that comes in the future. So that way you don't lose any of the Pokemon that you've been building up for years and years and years, or since the DS games or whatever, which is cool. I have Pokemon in the Pokemon Bank, so that I've had for a long time. So I think that's cool. And I think that's really it. Those are the big takeaways. There was something at the end, but I honest to God don't remember what it was. It was not a huge splash. But yeah, a lot of not necessarily video game Pokemon news, but it was very funny. People were very upset at how this press conference went. It was very weird. Let's see. There's some other juicy things. I'll get to the less juicy things and save the best for last year. The next Call of Duty game, this year's Call of Duty game that we've been kind of talking about over the last couple of episodes, was finally unveiled. It's called Call of Duty Modern Warfare. It's coming out October 25th. And people got to play it. And they talked about how it was something like... It's something much, much grittier and quote-unquote more realistic and darker by association than it sounds like anything we've seen from Call of Duty before. Nabashin, did you listen or read any previews about this game?
I know the gist of it. I haven't really looked into it.
Yeah, I guess it sounds like press members were given a demo that was kind of played out per the person playing it, per the Infinity Ward person playing it, but the kind of tone of it, just to give an example, and apologies if this is triggering for anybody, they were invading a village at night, like breaking in and trying to get a target within that village, but the village was very specifically occupied by people and civilians, so there were instances of the terrorist cell, or presumably whoever they were going after, grabbing and using civilians as human shields, and things kind of being able to play out a little looser. Like, you have the agency to be able to shoot civilians in this instance, kind of like No Russian, to use a Call of Duty comparison, which was obviously a big moment in Modern Warfare 2, but I don't know. I think there have been arguments, and there could be arguments about how well that's aged. But a lot of people I know were a little unsettled by what they were showing. I'm not really sure what to make of it. I don't know. Do you think that Call of Duty Modern Warfare will be shown in an E3 press conference, Nabashin? At all?
No.
Yeah. they've kind of had an agreement with Sony for the last few years. Sony's not doing a press conference.
And they still have the agreement. They still have the DLC exclusive, I noticed.
Yeah.
So I don't think it'll be on Microsoft.
Yeah, so there could be contractual reasons why they can't be on Microsoft stage. But there could also be contractual reasons that if Sony's not going to be there, they're going to show their game to whoever's taking it. So I don't know. Either way, I think this might be a good year not to show it. If they're going to go for something like this, I feel like that's not necessarily something to put out celebratorily, or at least this section of the game that press got to see.
You don't. There's plenty other portions of that game that they could show off.
Yeah.
So do I think they're going to show it? Yeah. It's one of the few things they're going to have to show. Because I don't hear of anything new.
Yeah.
And I honestly think that this year's E3 for them is going to be just their sports rundown.
Yeah.
But they don't. They don't have their own segment, right?
Activision doesn't have their own press conference, no. Right. So yeah, they typically latch on to other shows. Tony, hi.
Hey.
Hello, buddy. Do you want to get your audacities ready?
Ready.
Excellent. On one, my friend. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Tony is here.
Who?
Tony Horvath is here.
Oh, him.
That's you.
Why?
Why are you here, Tony? I was told that you would have a solid as fuck E3 prediction.
I was gonna have that, and then I got real busy.
Yeah. I bet. That solid as fuck E3 prediction somewhere in there, though.
So I mean, hey, I gave you a pretty solid one in text form.
That's true. Maybe we'll read through those as well. Tony, we're talking about the new Call of Duty, which was unveiled this past week, which I know you're
unveiled by mistake, right?
Unveiled. It was leaked.
Is that what happened?
It was leaked 2 weeks ago, but this week it was unveiled on purpose.
Okay.
This was the real one. We just kind of
real shit.
Yeah, we just kind of talked about it, and you know they're typically in the Sony press conference. There's not going to be a Sony press conference. Will Call of Duty be in a press conference this year? We don't know. But it seems like they're making a darker Call of Duty. We don't necessarily need to harp on it too much. If there's a similar multiplayer setup to Call of Duty and it's similarly fleshed out and has a similarly great battle royale mode, Tony, would you play Call of Duty again this year?
It all depends on like my play.
Mm-hmm.
It's not a game. It hasn't been a game. It wasn't a game, and still isn't a game that I'll go into by myself. You know,
that you'll seek out
without
yourself.
without being prompted to.
Yeah, that's totally fair. I think like
so.
I don't know. Weirdly enough, like seeing the gameplay of this year's one, like seeing what it looked like and how it felt, and maybe just because Modern Warfare Remastered was the most recent Call of Duty game I've played, it kind of made me want to play it. But I always get that inkling, I think, when I first see the new Call of Duty, and it typically wears away by the time it releases. Tony, did you hear about the Pokemon press conference?
No.
Okay. Pokemon Sleep is a real thing. I just want you to... That's a real, legitimate product that is being made. I don't know what that means, but... In a little bit of juicy news that I thought, Square Enix is now publishing Dying Light 2. I guess it didn't necessarily have a publisher beforehand. I don't know the history behind it. But that's Techland's game. Techland used to make Dead Island. It seems like their A team has now completely focused on Dying Light and Dying Light 2. And yeah, so Square Enix said this week, hey, we're publishing that game. And I guess it was originally going to be published by Techland Publishing. So there's that question answered. But Square Enix said they're publishing the game, at least in North America. And it's going to be in their E3 press conference. So that's one to look out for.
All right.
You ever play Dying Light, Tony?
No.
That's it. I think that is a game that you would enjoy.
All right.
It has those vibes, and you can play it 4-player co-op and have a ton of fun with it. So, and then everything else is kind of more of like a checklist before E3, like a thing to think about. Destiny said they're revealing, quote unquote, their next chapter. Bungie said they're revealing their next chapter June 6th, I believe, which is whatever Destiny 2 Year 3 will be. But more importantly, this is their first announcement outside of Activision, really. They've had small updates since Destiny and Activision, Bungie and Activision kind of went their separate ways earlier this year. But this is going to be their first big thing that they're going to talk about post leaving Activision. So maybe it will be indicative of the new direction Destiny's moving in. Maybe it will just be them doubling down on what Destiny is. I don't know. I'm excited though. And that's so like this week. That's going to be the Season of Opulence, which is the new Destiny thing. The current event starts on June 4th, which is Tuesday. And yeah, I think this is Thursday. Yes. So June 6th. And like I mentioned earlier, Pokemon Direct about Pokemon Sword and Shield is June 5th on Wednesday. And then the only other like totally out of the blue news that kind of dropped out of nowhere this past week was a tease for a stream for Death Stranding news. And then a stream of a new trailer for Death Stranding, which was the release date trailer, which ended in saying that Death Stranding will be releasing on PlayStation 4 November 8th, 2019, this year. Sooner than I think a lot of us expected. Nabashin, you are my other Death Stranding believer here. How did you feel walking out of this trailer?
About the same I've always felt about Death Stranding.
Do you think I will say, like, to this trailer's credit, I think I got a better idea of what it's like to play Death Stranding. And the last trailer kind of had a little bit of that too, a little bit of actual gameplay. But do you think Death Stranding is going to be a good, enjoyable to play video game?
Yeah,
I do too. I think so. They showed a little bit of a lot of things, like being hunted by enemy groups, kind of a little bit more of what the quote unquote BTs is what they're called, the interdimensional beings that are terrifying. They showed a little bit of walking around and exploring and using gadgets to get around. They showed a little bit of gunplay. There was a very brief moment where you were shooting a gun. They showed like weird, like World War I or World War II scenes in the world. Very odd stuff. I like that I now have an idea of what Death Stranding at least plays like moment to moment, but I don't necessarily know what my missions or goals throughout that game are, because it's clearly tied into the story, which is just all over the wall. But I like kind of not knowing that or not having a grasp on that going into it. I assume there will be more trailers before that game comes out. But I think they sold it really well with this trailer. And I get the feeling that Death Stranding is going to be a lot smaller than people think it is, because it is coming out so soon. We all assumed Kojima would take 20 years with this game, but here he is 4 years later, showing it off. And it's coming out. That's it. That's it for news. I want to talk about E3. We talked about it earlier. Tony, I know you're so excited for E3, which...
Yeah, I'm so excited I forgot that it was real.
In just a week from today, Bethesda's E3 press conference will be happening, which is wild. So we're close. We're right on the precipice. I want to get some predictions. I know Tony and Scott, specifically Tony, told me he hates E3 predictions with a passion. But if you guys have any thoughts or guesses that might happen, I'd love to hear them. I have a handful, and I know Nobshin, you have a handful as well. And then we're going to get ready to make some E3 bets next week, which we're going to do right on the precipice of E3, right when it's juiciest, because I feel like it feels the best then. You know what I mean? You guys know what I mean?
I know what you mean.
But we are going to draft members of the editorial team to our betting teams here as well. Let's throw some predictions out there. Nobshin, give me your best prediction. Your surest shot.
My surest shot?
Your surest shot.
I'm not sure what you mean by
No,
that.
like the one that you're most confident is going to be true or come to pass.
When they announced Kingdom Hearts DLC that you'll be playing as another character other than Sora,
Mm-hmm.
probably Riku or Kairi.
Okay. What about Roxas?
It comes so late. I don't know.
It's true. It's true. Where would they announce that? At Microsoft's press conference? Or I guess Square
At the
Enix.
spring.
Yeah, you're right. Stupid. God. I like that. That's a sure shot. Do you think they're going to announce it now?
What?
The Kingdom Hearts DLC?
They kind of already announced it. It just they
But
haven't
do you
said
think
what
they're
it
going to
was.
show it, I guess, is what I meant. Like unveil it.
Yes. Yeah.
Is that DLC planned for this year?
Yes.
Okay. That's exciting. It'll be good to have like a reminder of Kingdom Hearts 3 later in the year as well. I'm trying to think like of these, which is my surest shot. I guess I'm pretty confident in this one because I feel like Microsoft's probably going to talk about hardware a little bit. So I think Microsoft's going to show Halo Infinite. They announced it last year. I think it's time to show it. I think they'll demo it at their press conference. And I think it is going to be the first of many. It's coming out holiday of 2020. And that's when their new platform is going to come out. I think they'll allude to that. I don't know if they'll say that outright, but they'll say like, "Hey, if you buy Halo Infinite digitally, you're going to own it on both platforms. You're going to own the Xbox Scarlet or whatever next generation console version, and you're going to own it on Xbox One. It's just the same. You go to the store and download it just like you would. It'll carry over. Same storefront."
So you're saying that's a Scarlet game?
I think it's
Initially, not like it's not an Xbox One game. Does not.
I think
It'll be enhanced with Scarlet.
It'll be both, but I think they have to if they're gonna do clearly push all of the games in the next generation. I think they have to talk about what's gonna make playing that game on Scarlet better, in more than just like a visual way. I think there could be like a significant jump to playing any of your old games on Scarlet. But that's the part that I'm not quite sure about. But the part I am confident is like Halo Infinite's gonna just be one game available across both platforms.
You don't think they would not necessarily downplay because that doesn't make sense, but like since they already have X, like how do you say that?
I think you say that we're gonna show you Halo Infinite running on Xbox One X today. And know that if you buy Halo Infinite, you're going to be able to play it on the next Xbox, and it's going to look even better. And we're going to just keep supporting it forward. Everybody gets the benefit. I think that's how you do it. So like you're seeing it on X, and you're like blown away by how great it looks. But know that it will look even better in the future. And it's going to just the support's going to carry forward.
Because I don't think looking better is the thing that's gonna do it. Because like it's weird to say because like I would assume the X version will already be like 4K. So like you can't really say it's 4K again.
I think there could be like gameplay or mechanical benefits, like maybe bigger multiplayer matches or things like on the next system. But I don't know if they're going to talk about any of that here. But I think their plan is to just kind of seamlessly transition everyone into the next generation. I don't know if that's going to work, but it seems like Microsoft has made it so that way, even if that doesn't work and more people still play on Xbox One, their services like Game Pass and everything will benefit Microsoft in the long run.
Sure.
I think they've kind of laid the groundwork for that strategy. So hopefully, because this is a whole new thing that I think they're trying to do with all this backwards, forwards compatibility shit. So I think if anybody can figure it out, it's going to be them. Scott, do you have any predictions, any guesses? They could be Nintendo, Microsoft, anybody related. Deep in your core, somewhere.
I think Sony's going to be talking more hardware.
Do you think so? Sony's not going to have a press conference. They're not going to be at E3. But do you think Sony will do something the week of E3, regardless, even if they said they won't?
I think that's kind of the point. Because that's why Nintendo pulled out. They always wanted to do something of the week of E3. They just didn't like the stage.
Yeah, and they found a way to
Yeah.
do both. They figured it out.
Right, and they're still on the floor.
Mm-hmm.
Sony's still on the floor, right?
No, they're not on the floor at all. They're like
Oh,
fully
they're
out.
completely pulled out.
They're fully out. But I think like with State of Play, and they're kind of like now digitally showing, like basically doing their own kind of Nintendo Directs. There's a possibility of them coming out in that week and saying like, "Hey, we're gonna do this," just because, which I think they will do.
Yeah, I do think that.
Yeah, I wonder if they'll talk about hardware. I feel like if they do talk about hardware, because they've started trickling out information, right? Maybe they'll do it at TGS or something like that, or Gamescom or Paris Games Week, or just early next year, kind of like what they did with PS4. What about you, Tony? Do you have anything that you've collected in your brain other than Nintendo Switchblade, which you refer to their new consoles?
Yeah, that's what that is. That's what it's gonna be called.
The Pro Switch is the Switchblade.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think Nintendo would update the Switch hardware wise? Would put out like a Pro or a Lite version of it?
Yeah, but I don't think it'll happen yet.
Okay, I think that's a safe bet too. I think a lot of people are sure that it's going to happen because there's hella rumors going on about it, but I don't know if we're there yet. Switch is doing so good, Why do anything to fuck with that momentum?
I think why spend development time working on improvements to a thing that's already working when you can just kind of hang out with it.
Yeah, I think there's
focus on
barely
putting
running
out
good.
content.
I think there's
Figure out how your online service should work.
I think there's certainly a part of Nintendo that's always thinking about hardware, but I'd like to believe that they're also thinking about those things as well. Namshin, what's your next bet? Prediction.
EA will announce something. They'll attempt to win over people to their side again. But like not like something more like something that people have been literally asking for and they just haven't been doing, like a Skate 4.
A Skate 4, yeah, that'd be a good one.
or like Mass Effect Remastered, or maybe not even that. Just like give it like the X enhanced support.
A good faith type move.
Yeah. I feel like they'll try to do something.
I think they need to do something like that too. Probably multiple things like that. I think they should have like a handful of those, like Skate 4, Mass Effect Remastered, etc. Especially like the idea of like, hey, put Mass Effect on Switch, right? Like this would be the time to do it. If you're gonna do like another packaging of those games, that'd be a great place to put them, right? I don't know. I feel like
you're not rumored to put Witcher 3 on Switch.
There's rumors that is a thing that can happen.
Yes,
that'd be awesome if they can figure that out.
That's like the most unlikely thing I've ever heard. But like if they do it,
I mean, it probably would not look and run very good. But I think that'd be a very cool thing to be able to take with you anywhere. I think
they put The Witcher on the Switch, and the only way they could do it if they cell shaded it.
Yeah, just what? Then it's just Wind Waker Witcher on Switch, and I'm in. I'll play it again. Third time's a charm. I'm kind of going off what Scott said. I think Sony's going to be present in some capacity that week or around that week, maybe like that Friday after the show's over or the week after. Which I know that's kind of outside of E3, but I think Sony will have said something by then. And I think it could just be a state of play, but I think in that The Last of Us Part 2 is going to get a release window. Because I think the Death Stranding thing could be the beginning of a trickle of announcements of small things, and another state of play would make sense. And I think they've been testing the waters with those, obviously, with the Final Fantasy VII thing. I don't know. I think it's a strong possibility that Sony is just full of shit when they say like we're not doing anything around E3. But I think they have enough of like little bits of things to keep themselves relevant, to keep themselves present in that conversation, so that way they're not completely forgotten, because I think that would hurt them more than it's going to help them. And then lets them kind of have a big bombshell, right? They've got Death Stranding this fall now, so I feel like that makes their fall more clear of what is Sony doing this fall. They got maybe Splunky 2 around the same time, That's what I'm hoping at least. So why not start checking out early 2020 as a release date for Last of Us? I could easily see it come out in like June of that year, kind of like the first one did. Scott, do you have any more? Any other thoughts, guesses? Any Nintendo predictions?
No.
Mm-hmm.
Smash DLC.
Ooh, yeah. Who do you think the new Smash character is going to be? They're going to definitely announce one.
By definitely, they said something.
No, but I feel like they've been very quiet since Joker came out in April, and now is the time to announce one. Or two, possibly.
Yeah, I don't think they're gonna do that.
Really?
Yep.
I feel like this is the time. Their E3 Direct, 2 minutes, throw out a new Smash character. They've got plenty to talk about, to be fair, but I think this would be a good time for it. Especially if all 4 of those other characters need to come out before February of next year. So that's what they promised. That's I totally forgot about that Namashin. Do you have a guess, Namashin? Do you know who it would be?
I mean, the rumor is Dragon Quest, but like as far as like the other characters, because like I think they're gonna announce like 2 of them.
Yeah, I think they're
like,
gonna announce 2 as well.
Because that Dragon Quest one's been out forever, as far as the rumored one. But,
Yeah.
Like as far as like the next one, like the only other one that's like close to like a Simon Belmont type of thing, it's like Ryu Hayabusa, but I don't know if they'll do that.
Ooh, Ninja Gaiden would be cool though. Yeah, I think Ninja Gaiden would be good. I'm like, for no particularly good reason, still pulling for Chrono, because I think that would just be such a good cut. But I know that that's like probably impossible because of licensing issues or whatever that's going on with that game. But man, that music! Think about the music, the stage that would be. Yeah, I think it would be a Dragon Quest character at least. I don't know about the other one. Maybe Banjo. I'll still keep toting the banjo drum. I want to still keep believing. Nabashin. Give me another one.
The sequel to Mario plus Rabbids will be announced.
Ooh.
And we will see a Wario and Waluigi Rabbit.
Oh my God, yes. I like that one. I have another Nintendo. I have a Nintendo one myself. But Tony, I'm going to ask you this question. I want a firm date as an answer.
You want a date? Where are we going, dude?
Ramen, obviously.
We haven't done that yet.
Got to make up for lost time.
We haven't even done it yet.
We did have plans.
We can have plans. I want a firm date from this. I want your best guess. When is Animal Crossing Switch coming out? I think they're going to say date.
Holiday 19.
Do you think that's what they're going to say?
I would say it's going to fall in that realm, but if it's going to come out this year, it's not. They're not going to be like comes out in April, or whatever. Like some.
It's already out.
No, I don't mean like that. I just mean like some random month.
I feel like they're going to say.
I already brought it out. Then it's coming out for something.
I feel like it's like September 22nd, 2019. That's the date. Lock it in. I don't even know if that's a Friday or Tuesday or whatever. That's it. If it's in that week, I win. Yes. I think they're going to give us a date. I think you're going to...
September 22nd is a Sunday.
Whatever the closest Friday to that is then. It'll be September 20th, right?
Yeah.
September 20th, Animal Crossing Switch. It's happening. There will be bundles. Tony will be there day one. We're going to be trading... What are the turnips by the end of the week?
I'll be there buying my Switchblade.
Your Switchblade. Whoosh! And the Switch comes out of the Joy-Con. The whole thing.
Yeah.
I had a good Nintendo prediction too. It's not a good one, but I had a Nintendo prediction. I think that in the past, like last year they didn't really, but in the year before that they did like a bunch of like, here we all know what's coming out in the next 6 months. Here's some fucking crazy shit that's coming out next year, next holiday or whatever. Like they did with like Metroid Prime 4 and whatnot. I think they're gonna do that again. I think it is either. I know it's a big either war. I think it is a direct follow-up to Mario Odyssey. I think it's Mario Odyssey 2. Like straight up, I think they'd call it Mario Odyssey 2, which I really do feel is possible because I feel like there is probably a lot of ideas they had left over after that game. Or it will be a Majora's Mask style follow up to Breath of the Wild, like something in the same engine, similar assets, and they're trying to catch lightning in a bottle again. Will they? Who knows? But I think they're going to try it. I think it's more likely it'll be Mario Odyssey 2, just because like I feel like they've got a lot of Mario stuff rolling around up there. But I think that's like holiday next year, and they're going to tease it here. Something big. Namshin, did you have any other ones?
This is one dumb one. Bayonetta 3 will be revealed and announced to come out in 2020. She'll have a new hairstyle and will have a bigger emphasis on the clothes that she can wear. And
Sphere Grid.
bonus,
They're bringing it over from Final Fantasy X too.
and bonus points, one of the clothes will be Bowser.
Oh my god, that would be so good. Do you think they would really do that? Actually, they totally would. Platinum would do that. What's Astral Chain gonna look like, dude? God, Astral Chain. I'm so hyped for that game for no reason. Those were the only big ones I pulled. I have no idea what to expect from Ubisoft. I think there's gonna be a Splinter Cell game, right? At this point, it's just a joke. Square Enix is a little bit of an unknown one for me too. Like they confirmed Avengers will be at their Square Enix press conference finally. So now like I know that's like my big guess. Like every year I just guess that Avengers will be there and hope to be right, but now I know for sure that'll be there. And all the the guesses I have around that are funny or fun are just bets. So I got nothing for that. I think that's it. That'll wrap up our predictions. Now I want to draft. So we have two betting teams on this podcast, Tony and myself, and Namshin and Scott. And to be fair, things are pretty neck and neck. I would say, all things considered, we're pretty close. Namshin and Scott are leading by 1 point, and Tony and I are just trailing by 1. You know what I mean? We got this, Tony.
Easy.
What about the guest team?
Guest team, not doing great. I don't think the guest/editorial team is going to make it. I'll be real. They have 3 points. So they're, well, we'll see. But speaking of the editorial team, we have 7 other members of Irrational Passions. And it's about goddamn time that we got them involved in our E3 bets. So here's what I want to frame this to you guys, so you know the severity of what you're picking. I think it's fair. Scott and Namshin are in the lead, so they'll get first draft. I think that's fair. We have 7 editorial members, and I'm going to read their names off because I'm sure you guys forgot them all. That's fine.
Who are editorial people?
They're right, I think. I'm not sure, actually. I think some of them make videos, but I should ask. Shit. But they're all resident bettors. I think they've now all pretty much been on the podcast at least once for a bet. Jarrett, maybe not. But I think he's been there in spirit. But I would say they're all pretty good. They're decent. They're decent. And we're gonna fill up our teams with 3 of those members. They're gonna be making bets for us to get points from E3. It's a big deal. I want you guys to take this seriously. And there is going to be 1 member left over. They're going to be a wild card. So basically, they're going to bet once for one team and bet once for the other team. Because I think that's fair. That way, everybody can be included and no one just gets left out. Scott and Namshin, you guys get to draft first. Your choices are Jess, Jarrett, George, Mike, Scott White, Logan, and Quinn. Who would you like to draft? You can discuss amongst yourself.
We're taking Jarrett.
Fuck. That's a good pick. Tony? Logan? Good pick. He'll feel loved. Man, whoever doesn't get picked, I guess, is really going to feel bad, huh? Although,
I mean, after Logan, they're all the same to me. So.
I'll make sure I tell him you said that. Logan will be very moved. Scott and Option.
I hope so.
Jess.
Good pick. Jess is going to be on vacation during E3 too, which is great. So she won't even know. I think we gotta go with Mike. Logan. Or Tony. Jesus, I can't. I gotta not read and write at the same time.
Uh-huh.
Yes, Mike. All right, your final member, Scott Namishin.
You okay with Scott? Or maybe someone else?
Yeah, I'm good with that.
Excellent. The Scott's got to stick together. I think I gotta take George, just because I think it's really funny if Quinn is the wild card. And I don't know. George says he hates E3, but I think there's love in him still. You okay with that, Tony?
Yeah.
All right. This is exciting. I mean, I think it's only fair. So Namish and I are probably going to think of most of the bets. I think it's fair, Namishin, if we can discuss this. If I come up with the dumb bets for your team members and you come up with the dumb bets for my team members. Does that sound... And I think we'll do... we can maybe figure out the logistical details, but the idea is just to do a numerical value bet, like a hard number that you can throw out there, or a yes or no, because those are easy enough to reconcile. We're gonna make some bets. I'm gonna ask the editorial team members throughout this next week, so we'll figure out what they are next week. Then on next week's podcast, we will make bets. We'll lock them in and get ready to watch E3. I think it'll be fun. That's it. That's the end of news and all that. Now, you know what? How would you guys feel if we took a quick break and then we took a peek at the mailsack?
Sure. Oh wow, I missed
You missed the video game talk. Maybe we can catch up on what games you've been playing, Tony. I assume you played stuff last night, so.
I did.
All right, cool. We can catch up on that as well. So we're gonna take a quick break, and we will be back in just a little bit. Sorry.
It was real good.
Sounds good.
I think if they were lesser quality hot dogs, it would have been gross. But they were really good.
They were good
hot
dogs. Good
They were,
puppers.
they were expensive, so I would hope that they were good quality.
Oh, the crisp on that. Hey everybody, welcome back. It's podcast time. It's time for podcast. We're talking about Tony. Do you want to talk about video games?
I mean, I can briefly talk about some video games.
Yeah. Would you you had a game date that was hard to make happen last
Yeah,
night.
we've been trying to get the people together to play it for like a month. And we started a new 4-player campaign of Divinity Original Sin 2.
Nice. That is hard
It
to
was
get
like
together.
the one where like we all have kind of played before, but the last time I played was like a year ago,
Mm-hmm.
So we went through like weeks ago and all picked out class mods off the Steam Workshop, which are just like custom classes that you can play that people have added to the game.
Nice.
And the one that I picked, oh man, is really good. Everyone else is kind of like, one of them's got like an assassin kind of thing, and there's another one who's kind of like an evasive tank who commands lightning. So like he's the one taking damage, but he's not getting hit. His abilities are making him hard to hit. Then we've got one who's like an undead lizard, which is really funny because if in Divinity, right, undead are very and lizards are very useful. The rest of us are humans. So the 3 humans and 1 undead lizard. So he's responsible for all of the bullshit that requires like special class or special race or abilities like that. Like any death fog he has to go through, any lock he has to pick, anything that needs to be shoveled, he is the one who has to take care of all the bullshit. So
Nice.
that's really funny.
That is fun.
And that wasn't even by design. Like we didn't look at each other's characters throughout character creation. We just kind of popped into the game, and we were 3 humans, and he was an undead lizard. So that was pretty sweet.
Was that Jay or Kaza?
No, different group. Snake, Mushroom, and Clear.
Nice.
Oh, okay. I wonder if we had to get together.
Yeah. So anyway, so we all have different. Like he is like some kind of melee build. Who's a little bit tanky, but not a tank. So my class is, if you had to rate damage on a scale of 1 to 5, is a 1 out of 5. But if you had to rate utility on a scale of 1 to 5, is a 7 out of 5.
Nice.
So the class is called a meta sorcerer, and what it does is it gives you a set of abilities that interact with the world in specific ways, but it's not necessarily set in stone how you use them. So, like, for example, you have an ability that allows you to switch stances between designate and derive, right? Derive lets you choose a target, and designate lets you choose or rather, derive lets you choose an origin, and designate lets you choose a target, right? And then you've got enumerate, which allows you to count the number of entities in an area. And then you've got mark, which allows you to either designate or derive something. And something could be anything, right? And then you have your 4 spells called compose, which allows you to compile together all of the information that you've gathered with the other 3 spells into an effect. So say, for example, the most basic command you could do is you derive a character in the party, and then you designate a location. If you do that and then you compose the spell, you will teleport that player from where they are to the location that you designated.
So it's just an incredibly complicated character.
And the funny part is I had no idea how to play Divinity. Like, I forgot how to do it. And I also didn't read anything about how and there isn't a lot of information available, I found out. So it's a lot of figuring out how the fuck, what can you even do?
Yeah.
What are the possibilities? Because the way, like, there's no set in stone thing like, hey, this ability teleports an enemy, or, you teleport to an enemy with this ability, right? So, like, say, for example, using those first 4 spells, like, I can do that. I can also, like, if I targeted an area that has water on it, I could target the water, like, I could derive the water, enumerate on a certain number of entities, so, like, say 4, and then designate an area. And then when I compose a spell, I will put in an area of water with size 4 for 4 turns in that area.
Damn.
So it's like that kind of stuff. And then once we leveled up to like level 3, I got 3 more abilities. that allow you that just kind of compile on top of all these things. And apparently there's 6 more that I'll get throughout the rest of the game that like allow you to do stuff. It's pretty fucking cool. Like you can really do some stupid shit with and some of it, like I can move things that are not supposed to be movable. Like if I just designate a locked door or derive a locked door and then designate an area where it's not supposed to be, I can push the door out of the way, just teleport it out of the door frame.
That's cool.
And then there's some drawbacks. Like I target myself and then enumerate a number and then choose a location and then compile the spell. And the game will try and clone me, right? Because there's supposed to be 2 things that pop up there. So the game clones the player, but that breaks the laws of reality. So you get an instability for that, which is like a really bad debuff, but the game still does it. So like I've cloned myself 90 times with one spell. It was pretty cool. The clones are kind of useless and they go away after a little bit. They like blow up. There's just like so much interesting shit that you can do with this class that I didn't expect would be available to do. So I've kind of like my role, because we're kind of role playing it, right? As Divinity is intended. And so my role has kind of become, my character has kind of become like this mad sorcerer, like trying to figure out, like they're all like trying to play, going around and talking to people and shit. And I'm off in a corner like, hey, someone come here, let me try and do this thing. And I'll designate or I'll derive a bucket, then target one of someone in the party, and then compile the spell, and it teleports the bucket onto their head, and like stupid shit like that. So I'm just over here like fucking mad scientist sorcerer shit, and they're all like trying to play the game. It's so fucking.
That's very good.
So that's what we've been doing.
I like that a lot.
Yeah, it was really fucking rad. I was up way too late last night doing it, so
it's cool that Divinity also like has the boundaries to make cool stuff like that.
Yeah, I think that this is this mod is one of the ones that kind of pushes it really. But it has its own set of rules and stuff. It doesn't allow you have to be very creative to break the game with it. I've discovered a couple ways that really break the game that I haven't talked about, but yeah, it's definitely limited but unlimited, and it's kind of cool to be able to like think like, I wonder if I can do this, and then figure out how to use the spells to make the desired effect, and then for it to actually.
Very cool. I like that still. Cool. Anything else big you've been playing?
No, I mean MTG Arena. As always.
Okay.
I've gotten enough cards in MTG Arena that I can just build every deck. So it's kind of, I have all of them. Yeah, I can play anything in Standard, and I don't know if that's a blessing or a curse because I don't particularly like any deck. So I just kind of bounce between a bunch of them and don't really get good at playing any of them. And so I don't know. It's just it feels kind of like more of a shallow experience. Also playing against an unseen opponent, just playing against my computer screen rather than playing against a real person.
Yeah.
So some of that like antisocial aspect of it's kind of catching up with me now that I'm not worried about perfecting my decks and getting the cards that I want for the deck that I want to play.
Do you feel like it was like an unreasonable amount of time that led you to that, getting all the decks and kind of having everything, or was it pretty reasonable?
I shouldn't have that much. I just bought some packs.
Okay.
So
it's very attainable,
Yeah. I mean, I spent some money on the game, and now I got enough packs plus playing every single day, and playing smart with my money, in-game currency to acquire as much in-game currency for free as possible, and then use that efficiently as possible to get the card. So it's cool that I've met the goal, right? And I think I still could have done it without spending the money, but spending the money let me do it way faster. So I can now have all the cards and can start completing my collection from the previous set, so that when we move on to the rotation, I have everything from before that set, and I no longer have to spend money because by the throughout the course of that set, I'll get everything I need.
Yeah.
So
cool.
And it's interesting. Like it's still Magic. It's literally just Magic without being able to see your opponent. And I think that's also like the worst thing about it.
Yeah. Interesting. I wonder where Jarrett and Scott White are. I feel like
we also played some Sea of Thieves.
Yeah.
I do not like the Tall Tales.
Is that the most recent expansion?
Yeah, it's like the thing that they added. Like, there's a bunch of like riddles and stuff. Like, you go and it's like it's not necessarily like a riddle, but it's like you start a voyage and your goal is to go and like progress this storyline. And a lot of the time that means you need to go to islands, find keys or treasure chests and stuff. Eventually open a treasure chest to get an item. Item takes you somewhere, solve a riddle there, and then you get a key item that ends the quest. And all of that is kind of like, you get a book that has hints. So you have to figure out by reading through the book where you're supposed to go and what you're supposed to do. I don't know, like everyone else that I'm playing with in our group that was playing it before really likes them. I just can't get into it. I don't know why. It's just like I don't want to sit there and stare at a book. I want to go be a pirate,
Yeah.
So like the one night that we went around and like did pirating shit instead of doing Tall Tales was the one night that I was super invested in it. And every other night I was just kind of sitting there like, okay, cool. Do your thing. I'm gonna be over here fishing.
Hell yeah! But is the fishing?
But the fishing's pretty cool.
Okay. Can you catch a megalodon?
I don't know.
Probably not, but I can dream. Tony, how would you feel about taking a peek in the mail sack?
Go for it, dude.
This week I asked our lovely listeners to tweet us their E3 predictions. So I'm pretty curious to hear them and then tear them apart. Just tear them in pieces. Not really. Will be nice.
Fucked up.
You can be a part of the show in a variety of ways. You can tweet your questions at IrrationalPod with the hashtag IPQ. That's how most people tweeted out their predictions to us. You can leave us a voicemail at 404-590-1337. Or you can email us, mailsack at irrationalpatch.com. Silver PR did send us another iteration of his ad game, but I feel like we should save it for next week. Well, it's a little low energy this week. We're a little tired this week. But next week, we're going to be right on the precipice of the hype train. So I'm feeling it. Let's read some E3 predictions from our lovely followers. Harold Price, USF H-Bomb, he gave me a whole little list of E3 predictions, which I like. Super Mario Bros. 2 for Super Mario Maker 2. Oof, that'd be cool. I would really dig that. I think that's not off the table. Erdrick and Banjo-Kazooie for Smash. So kind of like what I was thinking. New Mario or Nintendo Kart. I like the idea of a Nintendo Kart racer. Do you think they would ever cross that line, Nabashin? Samus is now Carton. Captain Falcon is a Cartman. Cartman.
I mean,
the Zero Suit Cart.
Yep.
I mean, like that Star Fox thing. So
Star Fox Grand Prix, yeah.
That still might be a thing.
Yeah, I wonder if we'll hear at all what Retro has been working on, or if they're just now all over Metroid Prime. Smash character revealed at non-Nintendo event. Interesting. Maybe he means like by the treehouse afterwards.
No, I think he means it'll be a third-party character introduced.
Oh, like at a different press conference. Yeah.
At their press. Yeah.
I don't know if Nintendo would ever let that go. Be wild if they did. And his last prediction was John Vignacchi is on his best behavior for Giant Bomb, or doesn't appear at all. And then Minecraft announced for the TI-81, which is funny. Justin Graffius at the Sigma Omega on Twitter. Bully 2 announced. Hey, one can still dream. It's not going to happen. The next Assassin's
It could, all right.
It could happen. I don't think it's going to be announced at this E3. Next Assassin's Creed game will finally take place in Japan. Sengoku period for extra points. That'd be cool.
He didn't hear about Ragnarok.
No, he didn't hear about the Viking rumor. Probably not. Nintendo will have another collaboration in some way with Ubisoft. Like a new Smash Bros. Character. Or game. Yeah, that's good. If there is a new collaboration game, do you think it would just be the sequel to whatever? The sequel to Mario and Rabbids? Or do you think they would do something else?
I mean, if they do something else, like they'll probably just gonna do IP.
Yeah, that'd be cool. I think we got one more. Let me see. No, that was it. Oh no, we did. Yes, I knew we had one more. From Silver PR, JC Ramirez. Or Silver NY, as he is at heart now. Top 3 E3 predictions. Nintendo Switch price drop. That's a good one. That could happen. Although they don't have to, I'd say. Last of Us Part 2 release date announced, and Horizon Zero Dawn 2 teased. Those last two, very, very hopeful that Sony is going to have something going on at E3. I don't know. Those are good predictions, though. The price drop on the Switch. Do we think that's ready? I don't know. I don't think it's been enough time.
They'll announce this.
Slim.
It hasn't had a price drop yet, right?
No, it hasn't. It's been a little over 2
Yeah, I
two
think
years.
there's no time.
It could be. If they do like a portable only version, which
Yeah,
that's what you meant right now, Shin. Yeah, I think that could be the lower price point. That's it. Like I said, I think we'll hold the trivia for next week so we can embarrass ourselves next week. Maybe I'll have one of you guys read it so that way I can guess along. And that's it. Thanks everybody for writing in. I know this was a bit of a shorter show, but we had to reschedule at the last minute. I think it's okay. Namshin and I recorded for 4 hours last night.
Hell yeah.
So it's been a week. Thanks everybody for writing in. If you like the show, you can follow the show on Twitter or Instagram. On Twitter at Irrational Pod, Instagram Irrational Passions. A lot of cool stuff. We do videos and little clips and segments of the podcast and stuff up there. And it's where you can get all of our stuff first, I would say. That or rating, reviewing, subscribing, all the good stuff on iTunes, Stitcher, Google Play, Spotify, wherever you listen. If you like this show, the other shows that we have include Input, Video Game News Show. It's a very culture-driven show. They have good conversations there. They recently talked about the ESA, how much of a damn mess it is. And Video Game Book Club. We are about to talk about BioShock 2 Minerva's Den this coming week. I'm pretty excited. I've never played it before, so I'm excited to see that. And everything else, Irrational Passions, irrationalpassions.com is the place to be. We've reached the end of the show. It's time for bets.
Bets.
This week's bet, a little seasonal bet, and maybe we'll have. I guess we're doing E3 bets for next week, so it'll be different next week. But we have the Pokemon Direct on Wednesday or Thursday, one of the two. I keep forgetting that in the Destiny thing. Keep getting mixed up in my head. I think it's Wednesday. In the Pokemon Direct for Sword and Shield, how many never before seen Pokemon will be shown? So these are totally new Pokemon. Obviously, we have to assume there's probably like 75, 100, 200 new Pokemon in this game. But I'm talking about just the ones that they're going to show either in the background or present. How many will we see? Scott.
14.
Good bet. Tony.
20.
20. Nabashin.
11.
I said 23.
Ooh, the high roll.
I took the high ball. Nabashin took the low. It could go either way, I think. It really depends on how the conference goes, or the direct goes. Last week's bet. Blood and Truth releases on PSVR on May 28th. In the opening of the game, how long will it take for you to shoot a gun? Nabashin found this information, scoured this on the internet for us. But to recap the bets, I said 8 minutes, 22 seconds. Tony said 30 seconds. Nabashin said 5 minutes. Scott said 1 minute. Quinn said 4 minutes and 20 seconds. How long was it?
It was a little over 2 minutes.
Fuck. I mean, Scott gets it. You bastard. You dirty bastard, Scott. How was it presented? Was it like you get the gun and then you can shoot it? Or do they have you practice shooting on something?
I think you were climbing up the side of a mountain. And then then you get to this ditch, you randomly find a gun, and then you're able to shoot a lot.
Shoot a lot of gun. That brings Team Doubling Down up to 9 points. And Team About to Bust a Bet, which is still a very good team name, Tony. I just want to reiterate that.
Of course.
Is still strong and steady at 7 points. I feel like it's nothing to be ashamed of. Okay, I'm sick of people telling me it is. Don't you dare, Scott. Don't you dare. That's it. That's the show.
You're gonna have to double down before the team that's named after it does.
It's true.
How does that make you feel?
Listen, hush. Don't you dare. This is dirty. This is dirty play. Thank you everybody so much for listening. Thank you to Danny Weissinger for opening music of 2-player co-op and our closing music of The World is Saved. Man, almost forgot it for a second there. Scott, I guess I should give you this right and responsibility now. If there's anything that you want to reiterate, speak into the world, speak truth, just any kind of final thought, final word that you want to have here on the show, you've earned it by winning the bet.
Yeah, there's probably going to be a Smash character, but it's definitely not going to be Banjo.
You bastard.
That's about it.
Okay. As long as you're on the Smash character board, I'll take it. I can dream. Thank you, Nobshin. Thank you, Scott. Thank you, Tony, for joining me as always. I love you guys. Big hugs all the way around. I've been your host, Alex O'Neill. Play your games. Stay irrational. We will talk to you all next week. Titles?
Do we have any of those?
We do. Do you want me to post the doc link?
I got it.
Okay.
We got Wolverine's Spear Throw, Silent News in Gaming, Pokemon Go++, Nintendo Switchblade, Wind Waker Witcher, and Hot Dog Medallion.
I like Wind Waker Witcher just for the alliteration. I'd take that. Tony, what do you like?
I like Nintendo Switchblade.
I wonder why. Wolverine's Spear Throw was a good moment, though. That was in the games bit that you missed, Tony. Namishan, what do you like?
I'll go with Switchblade.
Scott?
Silent News and Gaming. To throw shade.
Shade received. I like Nintendo Switchblade as well. Namishan, do you want to say the episode number? And Tony, do you want to say the title?
Okay.
Okay. Whenever you're ready, Namishan. It's 426 this week.
This is the Irrational Patches Podcast, episode 426.
Nintendo Switchblade.
That's it.
That's awful. Take the no. Take the A Link to the Past sword.
Oh,
noise.
the shink.
Yep.
Okay, I can do that.
Now the real Switchblade has more of a click sound to it, but fuck it.
Fuck it. That sounds good. That's it. That's the show. You can stop recording now. Thanks everybody for watching. Y'all have a good night.